Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the vlog. I'm Dookie Betts. Today is episode number 4. We're playing a little 25 cent blinds once again, $50 buy-in. Stay tuned till the end. Some of these pots get crazy. Alright, vlog, what's up? It's Poopy Dookie. It's going to be episode number 3 or number 4, depending on if I decide to post number 3 or not. We'll see about that. Yeah, I'm driving around in my car right now. Just got out of class, gonna go take care of some business. And yeah, in a few hours I'll be playing in a little home game once again. Hopefully I get some good content for you guys. But yeah, enjoy the vlog. Alright, here we go. We're in the game for $50. Will I turn my sand into gold, or will I lose it all? One of the first hands of the night, we look down at pocket sixes. We've got an under the gun raise to $1, +1 called, folds to me on the button. I go ahead and make the call, and the big blind raises to $3.50. The two early position players quickly fold. It gets back to me. I'm getting about 3-1. We flick in the call. Let's go set mining. I deal out the flop, and boy is it a good one. The flop comes 7-6-9. We flop bottom set. Big blind checks it over to us, and let me give you some advice real quick. If you want to win in poker, you gotta hit your sets. Simple as that. We go ahead and bet $4, and he snap folds. Very unfortunate, but nonetheless, good start to the night. Alright, this next hand we'd look down at the ladies. Pocket queens. We've got a cutoff limp. The button flatted the limp, and I go ahead and raise things to 150 in the small blind. Everyone folds, the cutoff calls, and we're heads up to a flop. The flop comes King 9-4 rainbow board. Obviously not the best flop for our specific hand, but we still go ahead and bet $2 to try and figure out where we're at. After some deliberation, the cutoff player decides to call, and we're off to a turn. The turn comes the 10 of clubs. We decide to slow down here and check, not wanting to value cut ourselves too much. There is potential he has a king or other hand that might be beating us. And when this player decides to check things back, I'm pretty confident we have the best hand here. River comes the 3 of diamonds. Really safe card for us for the most part. There's no flushes on board, and the only straight is in the form of Queen Jack, which we have double blocked. So we can do one of two things here. We can either check and induce a bluff, or bet small and try and get called by something like a 10, a 9, or something of that nature. We decide the first option is best, and we check it over to him. Cutoff fires out for $3.50, and I pretty much snap call. I mean, I think if he had a king, he would absolutely be betting the turn. So we go ahead and call, and we're good against ace high.
That was lame. I had ace high.
Next hand on the agenda, we look down at Jack 10 of clubs. Very beautiful hand. We've got an under the gun limp, and I go ahead and raise to $1 from middle position. The big blind calls the $1, and everyone else folds. We're heads up to a flop. The flop comes Jack 6. We flop trips. Wonderful flop for us. This player only has about $7 back, and I want every penny of it. When he checks it over to us, I go ahead and bet 75 cents. This player pretty quickly puts in the call, and we're going to a turn. The turn comes the 5 of diamonds, pretty much a complete brick. The flush doesn't come in. We still have trips. We're going for it all. This player now leads into us for $1. Really interesting play, didn't know what to make of it. And I pretty quickly just raised to $5. This player kind of like giggles, laughs a little bit, and then eventually just flicks it all in, and we snap call. It's only 75 cents more. Let's see what we're up against.
I thought he only had 2 blinds. King 7.
This player shows us King 7. He's drawing dead. I felt kind of bad. He was a new player. Didn't really know what was going on. But yeah, we end up making a boat on the river, and nice little pot for us. Few hands go by. We add a bunch of new players to the table. We're now playing 7 or 8-handed. And my nemesis joins the table. This guy always seems to be winning all the money at this table, always making, good scores for himself. And it really, really pisses me off sometimes. So when this guy joins the table, I go after him a little bit. I try and needle him as much as possible, and try and play hands with him, and try and take his money at whatever cost. So we look down at 5-6 offsuit. We've got an under the gun raise to $1, and then our nemesis flats the $1, folds around to me in the big blind, and I'm going to defend very wide here. The flop comes ace-5-6. We flop bottom 2 pair. Really good start for us. We go ahead and check it on over to them. Both of the early position players are going to have a decent amount of ace-x and just overall strong hands in their range. So we check and flow. The under the gun player bets $2, and then our nemesis calls the $2. I think normally this would be a fine spot just to call and try and keep ranges as wide as possible, keep bluffs in, but with our nemesis being involved in the hand, we raise it on up to $7. The under the gun player gets out of the way. That's okay with me. He's not my target. And then nemesis calls. The turn comes the 8 of hearts. Not the best turn ever, but in terms of overall theory, I don't think it changes too much because the +1 player shouldn't have too much like 7-9 or 7-4, which would be straights. That would actually favor my range in the big blind, so I'm not too worried about it. I go ahead and lead for $15 and get called by my nemesis very quickly. The river comes the Jack of Hearts, completing the backdoor flush. However, I'm not very worried about that. This is a very capable player we're up against, so I don't think he would be calling the flop and the turn with a backdoor flush draw. The price simply wasn't good enough to chase the flush draw, and I know that this player knows this because he has a good understanding of pot odds. Again, this was the first hand that this player was playing for the night, so he bought in for $50. He's got exactly 27 left, and when it's my turn to act, I pump it all in.
I'm all in.
Call.
2 pair.
Me? No.
You slow rolling me?
No way.
That's right, we got snap called. He later told us he had an ace, and we were good against that, so we scooped this fat pot, about $100, adding $53 to our stack. And yeah, overall, our enemy's money is just better off in our hands. This next hand, we look down at the beautiful ace-queen offsuit. We've got a +1 open to 350. The cutoff called the 350, and it's back over to me in the big blind. I go ahead and squeeze things up to $12. It folds back around to the cutoff player who flatted the 350, and he pretty quickly just goes all in. He actually has less than $12. He's in for about $7.75. And here we go, we're off to a run out. I have ace queen, dream ace, yeah.
Flip it over.
Oh!
You're crushed.
This player shows us ace king, and we're in tough shape. Whatever you want to do, bro. Once, twice, I don't really care.
Once, let's go once.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Come on, man. Double up. Double my man up, Jack.
How about a chop? Put a little 5 out there. That's not good for me. Nice hand, sir. I hate this. It's so hard to film Omaha. Alright, we go a few orbits without really picking up much. Eventually, the game gets a lot bigger, and now we're playing 25-25 with a mandatory 50 straddle. So if you are under the gun, you must straddle. Also playing dealer's choice, it was my deal, I chose Omaha. I'm a fish, I don't know why I like this game. We pick up king 9, jack 8, 2 suits, and we go ahead and raise things up on the button. We've got an under the gun raise to 150. Like I just said, I raise to 450 when it gets to me. The straddler calls the 450, and the under the gun also calls. So we're going 3 ways to a flop with $14 in the middle. The flop comes 6, 7, 8 with 2 hearts. The under the gun player leads for $12. And when we get a flop like this, we're really not going anywhere. We're open-ended, we have a backdoor flush draw with the spades, and yeah, just a solid flop for our hand, so we go ahead and call the $12. It now gets back over to the straddle player. He sort of sits there and thinks for a while, and eventually he just puts his entire stack in the middle, amounting to a total of $42.50. And really, aside from 9-10, we're pretty live against any holding that this player could have. I also think if he had 9-10, there wouldn't be any reason to go ahead and raise it. He has the immortal nuts, and he would probably just slow play this if he did have 9-10. So I put this player on some sort of flush draw, maybe some sets, but for the most part, we came this far, we flopped pretty good. We didn't come this far to fold, so we flick in the call. This player looks at us, says he has hearts, and then asks to run things twice. This is a $111 pot, and usually I let the players I'm up against decide whether we run it once or twice, so I'm perfectly cool with that. We're off to a run out. The first board, there's a heart right in the window on the turn, so we lose to a flush there. The second run out comes clean for us. We ended up making the straight, so we split this pot in half. Really glad we ran things twice here. Not the biggest monetary victory ever, but it still got the degen tingles flowing nonetheless. Alright vlog, just took a nice little pizza break.
Shut the
I ate a whole pizza again in like 2 minutes.
This is going viral.
I'm ready to play more cards. Let's win some money. Alright, this next hand, we look down at the infamous 7-2 offsuit. We are playing the 7-2 offsuit game. If you win the pot with 7-2, everybody at the table pays you $1, and it goes up as the night goes on. If somebody does it, then it becomes $2, and then $4, and then so on and so forth. We've got an under the gun limp, and I raise the button to $1.50. The small blind calls, and the big blind raises to $3, and then I pretty quickly go ahead and 4-bet to $9. Both of the blinds call, and this is just a disaster so far. Let's see a flop. The flop comes Queen 5-5 rainbow, and we're going to go ahead and continue to tell the story that we have an absolute monster here. Both of the blinds check, and when it gets over to us, we decide to bet $12. The small blind pretty quickly calls. The big blind looks at me, says that he doesn't believe me at all, but he's going to fold. So we're heads up to the turn. The turn comes the deuce of spades, and just like that, we've improved from 7 high to bottom pair. Just really beautiful improvement. Unfortunately, the small blind immediately goes all in for $15. And as played, we've repped a lot of strength here, and it's pretty obvious to me that the small blind player has a very good holding. So we're unable to run this bluff here. He actually saved us a little bit of money by jamming himself. But yeah, we go ahead and fold and lose a big pot here.
I had ace jack of spades.
Alright, one of the final hands we play of the night. We look down at 7-2 offsuit once again. I just have despicable intentions for this hand. So when we see an under the gun limp, the button raises to 150, the small blind calls, and I'm in the big blind. I go ahead and bump things up to $6. The under the gun limper calls the $6, and we're going heads up to a flop. The flop comes ace-5 queen rainbow board. We're playing out of position. We pretty quickly go ahead and bet $6 once again, and the under the gun player hits us with some wisdom before making the call.
Are you milking me right now? Are you milk? Am I a little mooer? You a little cow? Are you milking me?
The turn comes the 6 of hearts, and I'm going to continue to tell the story that I have a monster. Like I said earlier, this player is my nemesis, and I'd love to do nothing more than bluff him for all of his money. So I go ahead and put out a bet of $15, and he snap calls the 15. We're off to a river. The river comes the 3 of diamonds, and let's be honest, it doesn't really matter what this river card is. You guys saw where I was going with this. Just watch the tape. I'm all in. I'd be more than happy to give you a count if you would like one.
I really did plan on calling.
That's right, we jam our stack all in for $53.25, and we fade the immediate snap. Obviously, fading the snap is a good sign. However, it's pretty clear to me at this point that he has a legitimate hand. Now we just need to get him to fold. Let's pray he folds.
This is a bluff. This is a really good bluff.
Such a bluff. It was a bluff.
$2 from everybody. That's right. We got him to fold. He later said he had an ace, and we take down this fat pot as well as the bounty from every player. And that pretty much does it for the session. We played for about 5 hours in total. We ended with a total profit of $66, so not a bad night at all, considering we're playing 25-cent blinds. If you liked the video and you want to see more of this small stakes home game fashion, make sure to drop a like and a subscribe for more vlogs on the way.